You are now checked in to IT Marketing Today, discussing technology's current state and how business owners are adapting it to their benefit. Here's your host, Mark Bishop.
Welcome to another IT Marketing Today on Business Radio X with Mark Bishop. It's nice to have you. And I've got three very interesting gentlemen in the studio with me today. First of all, Samuel C. Harrell. Hi, Samuel.
Hello.
He's SC Harrell Consulting Services. Been around for a long time in this industry, and more so in the IT tech side of things, too, we're going to find out about. But a fabulous fellow, and very interesting on this topic today. Desmond R. Reynolds is sitting right beside him.
That's right.
How are you, Desmond? Welcome. He has a division of Old Pueblo Business Solutions, LLC, of which he has ArizonaGreatDeals.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
That's terrific. We'll be talking all about that as well.
Okay.
And last but not least, it's like bookends today. We've got another Sam. We're going to call him Sam.
Hello, Mark.
How are you, Sam Trejo? He has Problem 86 IT Consulting, and he's our guest for IT Marketing Today. I've got to ask you, Problem 86 IT Consulting. It's unique, it's different. Is that the reason you called it that? To be catchy or what?
It was actually a culmination of not being able to find a name that we could think of that would resonate with people that they could remember. So we started as Accentech Computers. That is still the parent company, but nobody could spell, say, or remember Accentech because I made it up and I was being very creative, but I was not being very market-based in my decision-making. So Problem 86 is because we 86 the problems from your business.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, it's going to be interesting when we get into that. Everybody's from Tucson, beautiful Tucson, Arizona.
Yes.
We've had a funny year, haven't we, guys? We've had snow.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I met a poor fellow because Tucson here, because this gets heard across America, you never know who's going to hear it. But the point is this. Normally we have blue skies, sunshine, and it's beautiful. Winter is our normal months where all our snowbirds visit from all across America, the Midwest, the East, God knows where, to get out of the snow. And all of that jazz to come here. And some people came here to buy a house to do it, and it snowed. And it snowed, and they brought it with them. Heavens above. I tell you what. Samuel C. Harrell Consulting Services, you established and founded SC Harrell Consulting Services back in 2007 here in Tucson, and you specialize in digital-aged business solutions.
Yes.
And you and SCHCS, your company, you help small to medium-sized businesses integrate today's internet technologies into their operations without losing their personality. What on earth does that mean?
Well, personalities, what each one of us as a company, we all have our various personalities. Sometimes we call them branding. Other times they might be more specific to a particular industry, but personalities nonetheless. We want to make sure they maintain their core purpose and accomplish the things they set out to from the beginning. Part of their mission. We want to help them to maintain.
Okay, so what? So much like their mission statement, would you say?
Exactly. We consider that. We also take a look at the staff. How are people doing? How do they accomplish what they need to? How do they make that business successful? If they're operating well, then obviously all of that represents a part of who they are.
So, all in all, your life mirrors some 50 years,
Yes.
Samuel, of technological evolution from hardware to cyberspace. Wow. And in his 50 years of experience, Sam participated in some way in the evolution of many of the technologies being used today, including the internet and GPS. Would you like to elaborate for us a little bit on that?
Well, back in 1969, while growing up in Philadelphia, I was attending tech school. I was recruited by a local company as a part of the affirmative action program. That led me to going off to the South Pacific, where I was first leaving Philadelphia. Imagine that, to the blue waters of the South Pacific.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
I was out of my element, but I enjoyed it. Ultimately, I came back to the States for a little while, ended up going to the South Atlantic when I was working at the NASA space program down in a place called Ascension Island. That lasted about 3 years and came back to the mainland. While I was there at Ascension Island, the computer systems were so large you could walk inside of them. And as we were receiving the commands from the control center, they had to bark those commands out. You stand inside of a system, you're moving a computer or a cable, from one end of the system and plug it into the other end.
Right.
Well, today they do that on a thing called as small as this cell phone.
Haven't we come a long way?
A long ways. And that's the point to bring that into play. Ultimately, I left the space industry and went to work for the Department of Defense out of the Pentagon, where I was involved in some GPS type of development and maintaining microsystems, mini systems, and those kinds of things to develop what they call tactical systems for the military.
Well, this was back in '74 while you were working as communication and telemetry specialists.
Yes.
At NASA Tracking Station in the South Atlantic, and a system engineer at the Goddard Space Center in Greenbelt, Maryland.
Yes.
You supported several major history-making space launches. That must have been exciting in those days.
It was. I was a part of the Apollo-Soyuz space program when I was a telemetry specialist, and ultimately supported the first space shuttle test launch based out of that at that particular time. Mm-hmm. So that gave me a lot of exposure. When I look at Apollo 13, the movie,
oh yeah,
it takes me back. You see, so that's the technology of the time. That's exactly the comparison.
Well, it's a long way. You're working on, microcomputers and mini computers today, but big as a room when you walked into those. Don't you laugh, Desmond. I don't think you were around that time. You were too young, my friend.
No. I wasn't even a thought.
There you go. But you've had more than 10 years now of client service experience in problem solving. Your company, Old Pueblo Business Solutions, also covers Arizona Great Deals that you have here.
Right.
Talking about the online part of it, you created AZ Great Deals back in 2015, again as a local small business directory that offered small business marketing, digital solutions. How has that gone for you so far?
Well, right now we're revamping AZ Great Deals to integrate some different tools because of the changes in social media and the changes in Facebook. It made us take a different turn. And our ultimate goal is to help small businesses control their costs when it comes to online marketing. So we know that all social media and all this stuff is basically thin air. So we can help those small businesses take that technology and instead of paying thousands of dollars per month, pay a fraction of that, hundreds of dollars per month.
Well, as an entrepreneur, Reynolds is no stranger to hard work, the twists and turns that go into operating a business. What happened in 2016 when Old Pueblo Business Solutions sort of went through a change in time there? What was that all about?
Well, we wanted to get exposure to businesses, so we started 30 Seconds of Local. And 30 Seconds of Local was an idea to go out to small businesses, a prompt to just walk up on them. Hey, look, we're here to put you on YouTube and give you a free video, talk about your business. So we give them a minute to talk about their business.
Well, this was back in, 16? So YouTube had been around for quite a while before then. Mm-hmm. Okay, and what people knew about it, what did it appeal to small businesses?
Yeah, some of the small businesses, they liked it. And, we had some changes in our companies like other companies, and so it's... what
was the objective? You'd walk in with what?
The objective is to get them exposure at no cost.
Mm-hmm. So you'd walk in with a camera.
We walk in with a camera. Mm-hmm. We tell them, hey, look, talk about your business. I'll go out. Hey, this is Desmond with AZ Great Deals, 30 Seconds of Local, and we're here at, Business Radio X. And we're here to talk to Mark Bishop. He can tell us how Business Radio X goes, and then boom.
Okay, so you would then put that up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, how does anybody know to go to that on YouTube?
They can go to AZ Great Deals YouTube channel, and they'll see all the 30 Seconds of Local videos, or they can go to 30secondsoflocal.com.
I understand, but what would make me go to AZ channels to look at it on YouTube? I'm trying to understand how you join that.
Oh, so you're putting that feed inside of their inside of our social media feed and their social media feed.
Okay, so it gets promoted that way.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What was the goal behind all of it, do you think, when you first started? I know you wanted to help small business, but you went into business.
Well, I'm kind of one of those guys that says I got a vision to save the world, and I want to help small businesses because I was a small business owner with a restaurant, and I've been taken to the cleaners by, different companies on marketing, and I just wanted to make sure that I could give back to those small business owners in Arizona or everywhere else and let them know that, hey, look, I'm here to actually help you. I'm actually here to actually help your business. I'm not here to take away from your business. I'm here to increase your business.
Well, part of the show that we do when it comes to IT marketing today is, we're always out with the BRX network to help other entrepreneurs and budding young people who listen to the shows, different ones. And it's always good to get feedback from some of the guests who have been through what you've been through because it does help them. And your focus was local. You kept it at that, and you wanted to give small to medium businesses the opportunity. So that was your way of touching on so-called IT marketing and using YouTube. Correct. That's a good example. Was it when you went to YouTube, what was the biggest thing you found with that?
Well, YouTube's a great medium to get your message out to businesses because people don't really want to read it. They want to hear it. They want to see it. And I think that's a lot of small businesses. They're either afraid to get on camera or they don't know how to do it. And so, we were just there to show them like, hey, look, this is so easy. We're going to do it for free. We're going to show you this for free because it's not costing us anything. It's helping to promote our business and our brand. It's helping a local business and our community. And it's helping the whole economy. So everything works in a big circle. So we're all helping each other.
So you're very much a guy of what goes around comes around.
Yep.
That type of thing. Because a lot of companies would want money up front for that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what was the YouTube experience at that time?
The YouTube experience was great, and we're gonna start it back up here next month, and we're gonna be going to local businesses, and they can go on to 30 Seconds of Local, and they can fill out a form, and they can pick a date and a time that they want us to come out and do a free video for them.
Okay, that sounds good. We're going to be looking out for that. Sam Trejo.
Yes, sir.
You have a Problem 86 IT consulting scenario going on. What is it? How did you come about that name again?
So we started as Accentech Computers LLC, which is still our parent company name, and that came from eccentric excellence and technology thrown together in a creative way where I could actually buy a domain name that hadn't been taken back in 2004. That was the primary reason.
Oh, yeah.
And I figured if I could explain it to people, they would understand the uniqueness of it, and it sounded catchy, I thought, until I started telling it to some of my longtime clients over years, and I found out after 8, 9, 10 years, they still couldn't remember who, the X company, something X, and I finally said, we got to rebrand this. So now we have a few other DBAs that make a lot more sense when it comes to what we want to focus on.
Okay, so you were born and raised mostly in Tucson, but lived in California and Colorado while growing up.
Yeah.
Any exciting stories out of that youth you can share with us?
California, I was there during the heyday of their really good education system. So every year we had a nature field trip that we would go out and go camping and learn about the different plants you could eat and survival skills and such. I like to always say I'm a Tucson native that left just long enough to be well-rounded enough not to hate Tucson. Because there's really a lot of people who've been born and raised here who can't wait to leave. And I've already seen other parts of the country who don't mind it.
Well, I mean, Tucson's got that thing. It's like a magnet.
It's a boomerang. I call it a boomerang.
It brings them back, too,
Oh, yeah. They always come back.
Here's an interesting statement from Sam. He says, "No, I'm not married except to the business." You better explain that one, bro.
The business takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication. In fact, I just had this conversation this afternoon. As you rebuild, so we're hitting our 15-year mark this month, so that's a big milestone for us. But there have been 3 or 4 or 5 different restarts, depending on how you look at them.
Right.
And it takes a lot of effort to pick yourself back up, start over, rebuild, pivot, keep switching. So it's 100% dedication. You can't be tired. You can't take days off. You can't worry about how much sleep you didn't get.
Oh, but it's supposed to be heaven, having your own business, my friend. Days off, work when you want to work.
The goal is heaven. The process is interesting.
Well, man, you're a UA graduate of the Ella College of Management.
Yes.
You have a BS in Business Administration. And your major is Management Information Systems and Operations Management. So, idiot, I'll give you that, and you started in the Microsoft tech support at 16 years of age. Wow, that is young. Back in 2000.
As far as I know, I'm the youngest one ever hired for Microsoft Tech.
Really? That's a record, huh? So let me ask you about 2004 and Neogen, Sam. What was that all about?
So that was my greatest mistake and greatest lesson that as far as forming a name. That was actually before Accentech. I came up with Neogen because I wanted something new. I wanted to breathe new life into the IT industry. At the time, I was working in Microsoft Tech Support right when they were outsourcing our jobs away, so we were having to train the person that would take our jobs.
Right.
And they
this is when they were outsourcing to foreign countries,
correct.
too.
Exactly. So,
right.
So I felt that I should start the business because I could provide that level of support to home-based business people at a reasonable rate and do it better than what quality they were getting from overseas support. So what I formed was Neogen Computers, and it was going great for the first 6 months. Everybody loved the name, catchy as heck. I thought I had finally hit it until I got a nice, beautifully watermarked letter in the mail. And you know you're in trouble when you can hold the watermark up and you feel that this letter it probably costs $10 for the paper, right?
Right.
So this came from a law firm of a company from Neogen Incorporated that just so happened to have had the patent on the name since 1982.
Right.
And when I looked into it, I figured, well, maybe they'll let me use it for computers until I realized they also were one of the 3 main manufacturers of mad cow vaccine. And they were also a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company who did not want me to ever use the name again.
So
we got a cease and desist, and I worked with them. They were gracious enough, I will say this about Neogen Inc., they were gracious enough to give me a 90-day transition period, which they didn't have to do.
Right.
So as a 20-year-old now, almost 20 years old, basically going to them and saying, "Hey, sorry, made a mistake. Can we rectify this without you suing me?" They actually did really well.
That's very nice. Well, that's nice to hear that because this goes on a lot more now in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
So was this when you started a home-based business back in 2005?
So 2000, it started in 2004. 2005 is when the actual LLC was formed, and it became that's when Accentech itself started. But Neogen was actually in 2004.
Right. And you had your first commercial office to facilitate your growing base. How did you go into that? How did you feel by then?
So I hit the ground running. I started with just sending out postcards around the table. I still remember with my parents putting the tags on. I went to go get the mailing list and sent out only about half of them because I realized mail is actually way more expensive than it looks at the beginning.
Right.
So after some of those hit and I got some referrals, I actually was lucky enough to get a massage therapist who happened to know a prominent attorney in town who happened to turn me on to 3 or 4 more businesses. My sister was working in title and escrow at the time, and she had friends who were starting a new project that they wanted help with, and that was a large enough project to fund us getting an office and building a team of 6.
Very good. Very good. Well, you then spent a year, a little over a year, at a medical software company working on the implementation of software for hospital labs.
Correct.
This is around the US and the UK. Was that your first trip overseas?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to go on the overseas trips. They also had I believe clients in the UAE and a few other places. I got to do remote installations and work with some of the people in the UK in the middle of the night.
Yeah, how boring that is, huh?
It was exciting to me because I'm already a night owl. So if I had to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning for a phone call, it was not a big deal to me. So.
Wow. Well, mate, but congratulations to you because you had your eyes on a goal, a focus, and you never stopped, did you?
Never.
When you really look back at it.
Still haven't.
16 years of age doing what you did, and look at you today. You've lasted. I mean, most businesses, as you know, close in the first year.
Absolutely.
Then the next percentage is 5 years, if that. You've gone 15.
Yeah.
So there you go. Young Samuel Harold, where did you go after leaving the space program back in 1980? What did you get up to?
Actually, back in 1980, I went to work for the Department of Defense. Stationed out of the Pentagon. That resulted in me participating in some prototype development technologies, including software and hardware that we delivered to a number of military bases throughout the world, including NATO and others. And so that was an experience that was necessary for me to begin to decide just how I wanted to proceed with the future.
What did you see as a future with, you're more on the tech side, you were behind the scenes, you had military stuff training in there and all the rest of it. At that stage of the game, online or IT as we know it today and all of that didn't really exist, did it?
Didn't exist. IT really didn't come into true play until 1998. when I got involved with it directly.
And after leaving the aerospace and defense industry, you started a successful building maintenance company in Colorado Springs, Colorado, of course, and then this actually led you to the creation of something fairly exciting. Sam, you might want to tell us about that.
That was my period of transition from the military world, Department of Defense world, into entrepreneurship, if you will. I started a building maintenance company with a $1,500 investment and converted that into $1.5 million inside of 5 years.
Very good.
That was exciting. Then I got a call to go back into technology. So I invested, when the internet came along, I invested in that money. I sold the business, invested that money into a .com company called FlexNet, FLXNET. And there was a partnership between myself and with a national wholesale distributor of building maintenance supplies and office supplies, where I placed all of their products on my electronic catalog. We were about to be purchased in 2001, actually 2000. And in New York City, it seemed like it was the next day, but it was actually a few months later when the .coms bombed.
All right, that period, huh?
Yeah.
So here you are after building all that up, sitting on the crest, waiting for the pop the champagne bottles, and it busted.
Well, busted is one thing. You never really fail, you fall. And you get back up. Mm-hmm. You recognize that this is nothing more than an experience you had. You add that to your repertoire and you keep going.
So what was the one experience that stands out beyond all for you, that particular one? Because if that had gone off, from what I gather, you would have been quite wealthy.
If it had gone off, it would have been certainly a different position in life. But frankly, life's about the challenge. It's about the destination and not so much about the end result.
The journey, huh?
Yeah, the journey. We understand the most significant thing that occurred to me was discovering that I could actually transition from the military world into a self-employed person and make a success out of it. That was, I think, the turning point for me, to understand that everything I had learned and mastered while working for the government gave me the skills, the tenacity, the fortitude to continue to proceeding on and understand that life has its own turns. It brings along with it what it wants to, and you just got to keep on flowing with it.
So what brought you to Tucson?
The building maintenance company that I had in Colorado Springs, I sold it to a young man who also started a building maintenance company here in Phoenix, and he asked me to come down and run his Tucson operation. And a year after that, he sold his business. At that time, I was old enough to consider retirement, so my wife and I decided to stay here in Tucson, and we made it a home.
And that's how it all came about.
That's how it came about.
Well, if I was to ask you then, what is one takeaway from your experiences with technology and business leading up till then, what would be the most prolific thing that would stand out for you?
When I consider the evolution of technology, when I put my fingers on what is really taking place and having experience in business, I've come to realize that marketing our business has not really changed. It may have been offline, as they call it these days, or versus online. Doesn't matter. It's really about creating a brand that you want to pursue, promote, and it's really, and that's all also about understanding what your brand represents. It's not just, hey, I got this great product, let me put it out there. Somebody's going to buy it. You build it, they will come. They often don't come. So it's about understanding with clarity what your business is, and with that clarity, then converting that into a purpose that serves a community of people. And once you have the clarity, then you can actually transfer that information throughout your entire operation. I'll call it integration marketing. That's not a new phrase. I didn't create that, but it's actually a phrase that represents what all companies have to do. They have to bring their businesses into a place where they can integrate all aspects of it and result in a positive outcome. And that's the challenge that most companies have, especially dealing with online.
Well, we look back at forget online for the moment. What did we do? We'd sit around the kitchen table and we'd do flyers. And we'd do postcards and we'd do this and drop this and go door to door. And it makes me wonder how on earth anybody ever did anything back in those days. Unless you had money, you had to put ads in the paper. TV ads, radio ads, whatever. You know what I mean? And the reality is, look at it today. You sit back and you say, oh, man, I'm online.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you mentioned a very interesting thing. When I started my building maintenance company, it started with flyers. Going door to door, meeting these companies, going to the Chamber of Commerce and getting their book of list of companies, calling these companies, sending out email. Wasn't email marketing then, it was direct mail. Those postcards that go out, that's what we did.
Yeah, that's all we had, basically.
Yeah, that's what we had.
And business built. I think the online thing has spoiled a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's confounded many as well.
It has confounded many as well.
You're listening to IT Marketing Today with your host, Mark Bishop. We hope you're enjoying the show.
What about you, Desmond? What about the mission for AZ Great Deals? What's your mission in that now?
The mission of AZ Great Deals is to be the number one Arizona directory for travelers that come here and local small businesses.
Well, explain that a little. When you say travelers that come here,
snowbirds, anybody that's hopping off a plane at either Phoenix Airport or Tucson International Airport, and bing, they get download the AZ Great Deals app, and find a local business that's close by you.
Okay. I've just got off the plane. I'm new to Tucson. Where do I get this app?
It hits your phone through a beacon.
Straight away.
Oh, yeah.
So it comes on automatically on my phone.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that legal?
It's location-based.
It's location. It's called proximity marketing.
That's it? Okay. So it's not like something where I have to give permission for it to happen.
No.
Right. It's not an SMS
You got to get
message.
permission to download the app.
Okay, because that's where I'm coming from there. Okay. Yeah, no, fair enough. It's interesting. So the mission of AZ Great Deals is to help all Arizonans, plus local business owners and visitors, by helping them to go to the great spots for our gastronomical food and for all our other wonderful things to do.
Right.
This is what this will do. Years ago, I used to have a little thing called tourist radio. And it worked on a little frequency that we'd put on the top of a building and a sign on the side of the road, and they were all over Australia. It was very difficult trying with the councils, though, to get the signs up. They wouldn't give us the signs.
You did proximity marketing too?
But everybody that drove in within a radius of the town,
They would hear that
They
radio.
would hit 69 FM and go there and listen to what was going on.
Right.
So that was way, way back then. You know what I mean? If they were, Desmond, a local small business, a restaurant, bar, service company, you offered to help them with making decisions about digital marketing and give resources that provided low-cost and no-cost marketing information. What is that in a nutshell?
Well, we work with a lot of different developers from Italy to London. We also work with SH Consultants here. And we created a platform where we can offer these solutions to small businesses, whether it be a website, whether it be chatbot, email marketing, all these in one place. And that's the solution. And most businesses are trying to figure that out. And they try to figure that out sometimes at a high cost, and that's our mission. I'm a visionary. I'm not a computer analyst or anything like that. I'm a visionary, and I like to help people. So that's my mission. My mission with AZ Great Deals is to help small business owners, which helps our community.
Very good, very good. Let's just hope you make a living out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's got to happen too.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can give back again.
And, this guy Zig Ziglar says, so if you everybody get what they want, you'll have everything you want.
That's exactly right.
I think you touched on something important there, Desmond, is that there's no shortage of people that are willing to stand in line with their hand out to get money from marketing.
Right.
And they make plenty of promises, but there's not a lot of people out there that you can trust to pull it all together. So you may actually spend a lot of money in a lot of different places that are competing with each other.
Right.
And it doesn't do anything for you. And I've been there. I've done it.
Yeah, well, you're right, Sam. So how is your approach to small business IT service different than what you've seen really over the last 15 years in business.
So IT, the reason why we're an IT consultant and not just a computer guru or a computer guy is because we are trying to re-educate the public about the stance that our industry has suffered from, unfortunately. So the tech guy is the guy that you really don't want to call because he's not that helpful. He's going to make you feel bad. He wants to be done with you as quick as possible because he's smarter than you. He doesn't actually want to be seen, so he'd rather you put a ticket in or do email. Those types of things are completely the opposite of the way that we handle.
They're the guys we call geeks, right?
Geek is not a bad word because I don't want to give deference to the scientists and other people who take that term on too. We've ruined it for them, I guess you could say. But we've tried to go into each business and have a holistic approach where we actually get to know some of them, and we go through and we see family pictures of them. And I was invited to a wedding for the practice manager of one of our doctor's offices. That's how close we get to these people. So we know the inner workings of their business, what they need. Much like Sam was saying, it's about a holistic approach, getting to know what's best for them. So we go in, yes, as e-waste or IT or Problem 86, but we've also done work to help people close out their books or do accounting in order to make sure that they could sell their business. And that's not a normal thing. We've helped them with some HR policies before and compliance policies, and that's not a normal IT thing.
Right.
So we try to come in and say, let us help you run your business, because at the end of the day, if it plugs in, we want to be involved in it so that you can do your thing and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just
So it sounds very much to me like it's very holistic. Your actual approach to the whole problem with the client. It's not just a technical thing.
Exactly. Right.
It's a lot more than that. You've been in tech overall almost 20 years now. Yep. The young boy at 16 has certainly grown up a little.
Yeah. The world has changed since Windows 95.
Yeah. How is your relationship? Well, how do you think, first of all, how overall do you think it is all changing for us?
I think it's I'm split, because every time I read a new news article or get some new publication from my trade magazines, I'm always approaching it with a split. I guess it's two split personalities. One is very excited at everything changing and the new promise of the day and everything that's great, and the other is devastated that we are still doing so many things wrong. There's so many things that we are doing wrong. There's other things that technology is both allowing us to reach new heights and also pushing away some of the basics that we need to get back to.
I agree. That's absolutely correct.
Well, you're listening to IT Marketing Today on Business Radio X, in fact, Tucson Business Radio X. And our guests, Samuel Harrell and Desmond. Your last name, Desmond, again?
Reynolds.
Thank you. Just making sure you're awake there, Desmond. He had his head down on the table. Is it Desmond Reynolds? And Sam Trejo.
Yes.
Alrighty. Now, what are some of the most, I'll get this from all of you, what are some of the most common issues facing business users today when it comes to technology?
Costs.
Costs?
Yeah.
What do you think, Sam?
I agree with that. Yeah, but I also think that it's the lack of familiarity with what technology is, online technology is, and what it can actually do for you. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't disrupt your business model to become an online company. You should integrate the technology into your business. In that way, then you're able to maintain the consistency of what you started out with as a successful business before technology. Too many companies change their model without recognizing that the technology is a tool. And that's one of the things I think I've experienced and seen others do the wrong way.
Would you guys go with that? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with that. A big company did that. They just happen to sell pizza, Domino's.
All right.
So they're a technology company, just happen to sell pizza. So if we can, as technology people sitting here and marketing people, if we can help small businesses integrate technology into their business and it helps their business and they just happen to sell all these other different things,
then everybody wins, right?
Yeah, everybody wins.
So what are the threats, though? Let's look at the downside. What are the threats in the world now that are really here, as bad as the media might like everyone to believe? Is it getting very serious to where, no one's going to want to touch online because of the hacking that goes on, because of the security factors that go on? Because IT technology today, planes fly, I mean, there's so much.
Medical
devices, banks. They talk about if somebody closed down, what do you call them? The tellers, in the street.
Right.
If nobody could get their money out.
ATM machines?
ATM machines, thank you, to go shopping.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the panic that would go on?
Oh, I can imagine it.
I mean, some of these shows that they do on television,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're written from the future.
Sure.
Yep.
Let's
Star
face
Trek.
it. Well, more than that, we're talking about in the streets, providing for your family, supporting you, defending your family. That's what all these preppers are about, right?
Well, that's part of what I was talking about, that side of me that's really upset about the fact that we're still doing so many things wrong. I think that one of the biggest challenges and threats to us is that, like Sam said, we don't do enough to educate the public about what technology can do and what its limits are. Going
Correct.
along with what he was saying on the last question, you can't buy enough marketing or a good enough piece of technology to fix a broken business plan.
Right.
You just can't do it. So if your process is broken, you need to really evaluate that. And a lot of people have been told that there's a quick fix. They can buy this thing, sign up for this monthly whatever, and it'll fix, the phone will ring off the hook. But as far as the threats go, that's part of the confusion piece. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is that people are confused by technology. They know it's there. They know it can do a lot of things, but they don't know how to get from here to where they want to go.
I think in a simple way, illustration. I did a website for a young man recently, and he thought that just by putting a website up, that would result in increased business.
And of course, you explained it's like a billboard in the desert, right?
If you put a billboard,
I don't get it, Mom. I got this beautiful website and no one's knocking.
If you put a billboard next to a freeway and you don't provide an off ramp to get to that location, you're not going to serve your objective.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Too many times these companies build these websites and they don't recognize the need to do promotions and advertising to bring people in. And that's where the IT marketing aspects of things come in. It's not just building it. Now what are you going to do with it? That's where companies like ours specialize in.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this then, between you all. How does your approach change when you deal with a heavily regulated industry like healthcare or finance, as an example? What happens there when it comes to our favorite boy, technology?
You play by the rules.
Yes. And that's also, those industries are where education is huge, because you have to come in, understand the regulations they're facing, and so oftentimes help explain them to them. That's one thing that we do with HIPAA and PCI compliance for taking credit cards. But more so, going along with, back to your other question about threats, everybody hears only what they want to hear about how dangerous it is out there. And to be fair, it is. There are privacy concerns. There's regulation going through Congress that we all need to be aware of that people aren't paying attention to. There's a lot of things happening on the internet. But at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do about it, and we have to allow our customers to be educated enough not to be crippled by the fear that they have by not understanding what's going on.
Well, it's the timing. I mean, let's face it. For our older set, people who I'm part of the baby boomers now, I guess, and all the rest of it. I mean, we didn't have it around in class. We didn't have it at school. We didn't have it after school. I mean, today, kids are doing things for their mum and dads online that they can't even handle. It's another world. But for the older set, it can be frightening. It can be daunting.
It is, actually.
And that's why they say, the devil invented it, that darn thing. It's changed everything.
Yeah, the devil's created a whole lot of things we don't seem to catch up to.
Well, that's if you want to stay with that belief that it's going to stop you from doing something. Then, like you said, it's going to cripple that business owner.
Well, it won't. It'll take over. I mean, I think I saw an ad the other night. It was, it's Cox, I'm not sure, but this kid was playing this game on the wall. Basically, right? Now, I think holograms and what have you, I'd love that. I mean, if I could play myself with table tennis, I'd be wrapped. As long as it's a robot down there that's beatable, whatever. So, Samuel Harrell, tell me, what's your business focus for today then?
The objective today is to bring people more to an appreciation for what IT really is. It's not just a way of marketing, and it's something that you just bring in when you need it. If you're properly integrated into your business model, it can serve all of your objectives, but you have to be smart. You have to be educated. You have to spend the time, invest the time, necessary time, not so much money these days because things are built the way they are, but you have to invest the time to understand how it works. If you hire a secretary or someone, a stock person, you know the reason why you're hiring them. You understand what the outcome is going to be. You know what you're trying to accomplish. The same thing with IT. And IT marketing specifically. Develop your clarity about your business model. Integrate that understanding throughout your operation, so when you deliver the outcome, you have exactly what you intended to deliver.
You're listening to IT Marketing Today with your host, Mark Bishop. We hope you're enjoying the show.
Now, you're working on something. You were talking to me about this, and it's got me interested. I'm going to get into it too, because it's an individual thing that people should do. But I'd like you to explain it to our listeners, because this is something new out there where I think, there's a lot of people, for instance, that like to do stuff on their own. Okay, they've got that talent, they've got that ability, left, right, brain, whatever it is, but they can sit down, and then I think it's Wixit, you can build your own site, then there's something else you can build your own site, you can do this, you can do that. But the thing you're talking about is rather amazing, right? I think where does this company come out of? Where are they based?
Out of South America, the one you're talking about.
Okay, is this Builder All?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. And you're going to be full bore busy working on that. What does this company do? What's so special about it?
It's a broad range of things. Just to help you to understand, way back when I started my e-commerce solution, there weren't a lot of systems out there, and it did cost a fortune to get that.
Okay, now just for those that are as dumb as what I am, okay, e-commerce means we can buy online.
You can buy online.
We can do transactions and all that type of thing, right? Because when it comes to this stuff, I'm useless. Yeah. I got to tell you. So please explain. Lovely.
So that's an online electronic catalog. Those days, it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop those. Now you can get an e-commerce solution off the shelf, integrated into your business for pennies, comparatively speaking.
Right.
Okay? So when you think about that, it helps you to see that now more companies are integrating more features. It's not just e-commerce. It is email marketing. It is app development. It is website development. It is a host of things.
Yeah, well, all this stuff wasn't around, right? And are we halfway through, quarter way through? Are we nearly at the end, or is there so much more still to come?
You'll never be at the end.
Really?
As long as man can conceive and contrive and develop, you'll always see something new coming along.
You agree with that, Sam?
Exactly. There's always going to be something coming along.
Unbelievable.
100%.
So this Builder All does what then?
So Builder All
does it all. Is that it?
It does it all, and that's an important. I'm glad they used the term that they did, Builder All, because it is something that enables a company who's trying to integrate technology and marketing into their business to actually grab a hold of all of the things that are out there that have been proven.
Because it needs to be simple for people, doesn't it?
Needs to be simple.
This is where it's going.
Yes, that and inexpensive. Because we're talking about small to medium-sized companies,
right,
who already invested a lot of their time and resources into these systems that don't really deliver. A company that, like Builderall, is designed to help to mitigate the cost and accomplish all that the company needs to do.
So people can contact you directly on this, right? And what's your number then?
My number is 520-665-9353, or they can reach me at my website at samuelharrell.com, and Harrell is spelled Harrell.com.
Harrell.
Yes.
What did I call you?
It's all good.
As long as it's not late for dinner, right? Sorry,
right.
mate. Harrell. Very nice. All right. So, when it comes to you, Desmond, we've got AZ Deals. When's the big new release going to happen?
AZ Great Deals is, you can go to the website now. It's up and running. There's a lot of revamps that's happening to it. And we got a lot of different promotions that we'll give small businesses to help them out.
All right. So you give me some contact details if you'd be so kind.
You can go to azgreatdeals.com, or you can go to your free sales funnel.
All right.
.com.
Your free sales funnel. And your Facebook's there as well?
Yeah. AZ Great Deals. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter and YouTube.
All right. We better look out for that then. When it starts happening, get some great deals. Because that's the objective, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it? For Tucsonans to be able to get great deals off the retailers here and do some business with them and get some nice savings, because everybody loves to save. Don't you love to save, Sam Trejo?
I do, actually. That leads into my next comment, if you weren't going to bring it up, about price versus value.
Well, it is, actually. It was going to be my next question. But
Psychic.
how do IT firms deal with this question then?
So it's a lot about, again, educating our clients. Unfortunately, technology is one of the main industries that has benefited but also suffered from price pressures. So while technology has gone far enough to make things cheaper, it's also allowed people to take it for granted. So I call them like the cheap $200 laptops that are basically like toasters now, because people see that you can just throw it away and buy another one. When you're starting to talk to them about IT that runs their business, they don't make the correlation.
No,
they're not the
it wouldn't.
same.
Right.
You can do it from their phone.
Right. Yeah, I can do it from my phone.
Well, everybody's always looking for a deal.
Always looking
and
for-
everybody's always looking to screw the poor small business guy down. You know that.
Right.
But when it comes to specialty areas
Yes.
that they know they really need you,
Absolutely.
it's not like trying to get a gardener you could shop for 3 quotes, is it? Do they do that to you in your business?
Every once in a while, we have clients that try to, but we really go after the ones that we want. Our primary client is the client that's revenue is tied to their operations, and those operations are tied to their IT. So when we have a doctor's office where if they're down for a day, they could lose $10,000 to $20,000 a day, and we keep them up, and then we give them a server quote. All of a sudden, you put it in that perspective. You break it down by how much they're spending per day to not be out.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's not an issue anymore about trying to find the least common denominator, because they know that you are trying to keep them in business. You're trying to do what's best for their clients, especially their patients and medical.
Well, mate, $20,000 a day is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody to lose in any sorts of business. Isn't automation, though, and artificial intelligence supposed to make tech a lot easier?
It is.
Isn't everything supposed to be easier today?
If you know how to use it.
Yeah, if you know how to use it, it can make your life beautifully.
Right. Customer service, a big part of that, with the high-tech tech support calls. They're enough to make anyone cringe these days, aren't they?
It kind of reminds me of the old NSA data collection that came up a few years ago, where they finally admitted they have these big databases. They were listening to everything.
Yep.
They do have it all,
Yep.
but unless you're being flagged and they have the right algorithm to find it, that's a lot of data to sift through. And it's the same thing with a lot of technology. There's capability, and then on the other hand, there's your actual implementation of it, and they almost are never the same thing, unfortunately.
Well, how with your company, how does your vendor relationship management expertise come in? How do you alleviate that burden with your business?
So we like to, specifically in medical, take on the task of dealing with the medical device manufacturers, medical software companies, sometimes the billing coordinators. We want the practice manager to be able to run the office, to make sure their credentialing is good, to make sure the money comes in, that everything's being handled from the HR perspective. When we don't want them to have to sit on hold and then try to explain technically how something's not talking to a server or why something is happening. So all we do is have them call us or put in a ticket to notify us there's a problem, and then we have existing relationships with these vendors and their tech support departments and senior level management often, because we will push for our clients to get something done. So that actually alleviates a lot of the issue, because whether they want to admit it out loud or they can, a lot of the tech companies love it when another tech calls them, because it saves them time.
Right.
And honestly, the clients like it as well. So I don't know why we're trying to hide behind the fact that we can't just have somebody who doesn't know how to explain something talk to somebody who understands the software and have a good relationship. That's never going to happen. We need competent consultants in between, and that's what we do.
Sustainability, in closing, basically is a buzzword, but it's important to have the conversation in tech, right? Is there a solution to the throwaway culture we've adopted, do you think, when it always seems cheaper to get new instead of all repairing?
Well, we do have a division of our company called E-Waste Assassin. That's one of our other DBAs, and that specializes in getting rid of e-waste from refreshes of equipment in offices. We also certified drive wipe the computers so that for regulated industries, their patient data is protected from getting out into the wild. But going to a couple CES panels on sustainability and e-waste and at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, I have talked to people from Panasonic and from Dell and from a lot of the consumer organizations, people that are coming and trying to make e-waste a priority. And I can tell you, I was always one of the 5 or 6 people in that building. Now, you have to understand, CES draws in 180,000 people during the course of the 7-day conference.
I'd love to go there sometime.
It's an amazing conference.
Would be, yeah.
But to have 6 to 10 people in there talking about e-waste is a problem. To only have Panasonic and Dell as the primary representations from manufacturing
seems a bit loaded, doesn't it?
So we have to start with them, and they even admit it. Unfortunately, it's a process of getting, changing behaviors and doing things, but the manufacturers have to take a certain amount of responsibility in either making something repairable, sustainable, or eating a lot of the costs at the end to allow the recycling process to continue, because it's just not profitable to do all by itself. There's a lot of recycling companies that have gone under in the last 5 years, people that used to be our competitors that don't even exist anymore.
Right. Well, I got to tell you, Sam, you make a lot of sense. So if people want to talk to you, how do they get hold of you?
So the best thing to do is just to call us direct here in Tucson. It's 520-447-1486 for Problem 86. And then we can always talk to them about what else they might need. So if they need anything from all of our other sub-DBAs, we can talk to them and get them scheduled.
Pretty stressful industry you're in. You've been going a long time. What do you do for hobbies and interests? I mean, when you do get time to do something else?
Sometimes I go out and just take long drives and blast the music as much as possible. I also do some writing. So I'm in the middle of 8 or 9 different novels that may never be finished.
You're one of those?
It's a process I like. So someday it's either going to be highly successful or just a whole lot of
How long does it take you to get a chapter done?
It depends on the chapter. I've done one chapter in one sitting before. Right. I've also done, it's taken, let's do a paragraph here. I'm not really into it, and to come back over many weeks. So writing has to, the characters have to tell you the story. Is what Stephen King says, and I agree.
Well, you wonder what people do. Everybody's different. As my mother used to say, we wouldn't have horse racing if it was all the same. Right. At the end of the day, what do you do, Samuel Harrell?
Well, what I do?
For hobbies, interests, when you're not trying to make a buck.
I always tell people I have a wife and a life.
Oh, is she a happy wife?
They both keep me very busy.
Well, I was going to say, happy wife, happy life, isn't it? Isn't it the saying?
That's right, and I try to make sure she stays happy by not telling all the bad news.
All right.
I resolve the problems and let her enjoy the peace.
What do you do other than that? I mean, did you used to play sport when you were younger? Or?
When I was younger, I brought a lot of injuries to myself playing basketball, football, and racquetball. I've got bad knees, bad back. I've had it all.
Yeah, you had it all.
Yeah, I've had it all. But that's okay. I mean, we're here.
Life goes on, doesn't it?
Life continues to go on.
What about you, Desmond?
I study astrology.
Interesting. Yeah. So what's in the stars, baby?
What's coming?
Everything looks good.
Everything's looking good?
Yeah, it looks good.
All right. That's good for
We're
that.
no longer blaming Mercury being in retrograde.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Jupiter's here.
Yeah. And people contact you how?
They can contact me directly at 520-343-3676. I answer 24 hours a day.
All right. And, of course, everybody knows that all the details, phone numbers and social media, all the social media links will be up on the site, on the Tucson Business Radio X site, plus photographs of the guys as well, so you can relate a little better to them or stay away from them, one or the other. And everything's there in the publishment for you, so don't worry if you didn't get anything down right now. I'm going to finish with this one question from each of you. If you had it all over again, and I might start with you, Samuel Harrell. If you look back at all you've done, what's the biggest regret you think you have?
Traveling like I did.
We'll talk about business. The biggest regret in business.
Yeah. Okay, good. Biggest regret in business. Mm-hmm. Was not being more circumspect about the investments I've made in the .com era and not being more patient.
What difference would it have done for you, do you think?
Perhaps I would have made different choices. It's all about choices. Everything we do in this world is about a choice. Mm-hmm. And if I had the ability to look forward and recognize the potential outcome and not ignore them, then I would have made a different choice. At the end of the day, I'm happy where I am. So I guess it's not really fair to make that a regret because I have a pretty good life right now. I'm enjoying my associations. I'm enjoying my family. I'm enjoying the relative health that I'm in, considering all the other things I've done. But I think that's really it. I don't really have any regrets in that regard.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, again, to each their own. If you had another choice, Desmond, you look back career-wise, a message maybe you can advise somebody on, some young fella maybe listening.
In business,
What do you regret? What's the biggest thing that you regret?
have a balance. Have a balance between business and personal life.
Aha.
Yeah.
Because that is an important one.
Very important.
What do? You do astrology.
Yeah, but it's just me. I don't have no happy wife, happy life.
He's happy.
but I'm happy, you know.
Of course you're happy. That's good. You're fun. You've always got a smile on your dial.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you that. But business-wise, you're pretty content?
Yeah, I have no regrets. I believe everything was a learning experience for me. And everybody that played their role in my life up to this point, we're supposed to be there.
Well, there you go. Good on you, mate. It's a nice outlook to have.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Sam Trejo?
I think if I look back, I would have told myself to not be afraid to take a breath and be just a little bit more patient. I think a lot of times we, in this fast-paced culture, feel like by doing so that we're going to miss something or that we're failing or we're not doing it fast enough.
Right.
And
Missing out sort of thing.
And every mistake I was going to, mention before while I was thinking was that basically came down to that. If I would have just taken a breath or thought a little bit more about this or that situation would have ended up better. So that's really what my takeaway is. Take a breath, take a step back, refocus on things, mindfulness, and be mindful of what you're trying to do.
Wise words. Because I've got 3 wise monkeys sitting right in front of me.
Definitely mindfulness.
If I'd have had 5, I couldn't have used that joke, could I? No. Listen, Samuel Harrell, fascinating speaking with you. Thank you for the time you've given us today. I've taken something out of what you have shared, and I think it's very, very important today to learn from others. I think it's good. Desmond Reynolds, I'm going to be looking out for this Arizona deals, baby. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. And, of course, Sam Trejo, Problem 86 IT Consulting. IT Marketing Today is a show. We don't do too many of them, but we look for certain people who can contribute to our society because we don't know where it's going next, IT, do we? We just do not know. But I'd like to thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Desmond. And thank you, Samuel.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Tucson Business Radio. And good luck with your businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.